Hello, today for review I've got earphones that I was waiting for about a year, maybe a bit less, but as you can see by the box it's periodic audio Carbone. It's their new flagship model. Some time ago I already reviewed three their previous models, including the X flagship model Beryllium, and now it's time for new flagship, and as you can see it has a diaphragm made of Carbone. If you are interested why they've selected this material, just feel free to visit the link in the description. They've got pretty lot of text on their website describing everything and every single aspect of information. They are actually like scientific approach, so just visit their site. It will give you aesthetic pleasure. Price of these earphones is $400, and probably that's all I need to say in the preface, and now let's have a closer look. They significantly upgrade their box, more polygraphy, much more design, lot of information printed about acoustic architecture, safety, comfort and so on. There is opening lid, and here is detailed information about Carbone itself, melting point and so on, but that's not as interesting as technical specifications. So 32 ohms of impedance, 98 decibels of sensitivity, as you can see pretty low sensitivity, but enough to be driven by proper player. And the most interesting figure is less than 0.2% of total harmonic distortion. It's really low figures. And here is the frequency response. Actually it looks a bit spiky, but in the reality it sounds not that way. Well, probably it has such accent on bass, but actually mids are not as resistant on this frequency response. But to get to the earphones themselves, you need to open the box here, ungluing it, and then you can get the internal box. Inside you will have familiar tin can with accessories, airplane adapter, 6.3mm adapter, and pretty big set of tips, lot of them foams, single flange tips, double flange tips, so pretty good choice. And of course earphones themselves. So as you can see, accessory set is pretty nice. Periodic Audio don't play marketing games, so they've selected minimalistic design, and they still use it even with pretty expensive models. Of course, nowadays in $400 price range you can usually expect replaceable cable, some fancy metal case, but Periodic decided to use materials and design ideas that will allow them to achieve the desired sound, and nothing for the marketing. So cases of earphones are made of polycarbonate. It's lightweight but very sturdy and durable material that reduces internal resonance and gives best acoustic performance. Shape is absolutely simple. They are round, so they fit in nicely into any ears. You can wear them cable down, over the ear, any way you like it. On the back side there are metal caps, and this time they've selected black color for the cap, and this caps works as a counterweight to provide proper balance of earphone in the ear. They have spouts of medium length, so sound isolation is a bit above average. It has lips to better hold the tips. So you know, really basic shape, but it works really nicely. Maybe it doesn't look fancy or super stylish, but anyway it's really reliable shape, and it provides a good fit, so I think it's the most important for the earphones. To distinguish left channel from right, you should look inside and protective grille for the right channel is colored with red color. It's the only difference. I don't know why they didn't make some dot or some other marking, or at least make strain reliefs of different color, but I already got used to that. Cables are not replaceable, but they are covered under the periodic audio warranty, if I remember right, and warranty is pretty good way of dealing with any possible damage. But of course they did everything to provide the best durability. There are special strain reliefs. Cable is soft, it has low microphonic, almost zero. It's not getting hard when it's cold. It's declared to be really durable, and I think it's true because I used periodic audio titanium for quite a long time, and the cable still works pretty well. But as you can see, it's barely minimal design. Plastic splitter, and from splitter the cable goes way down below to the regular 3.5mm jack. And of course about the sound. Carbone are typical periodic audio earphones, and that means that they don't have typical sound because periodic audio never made mainstream sound, and this time they've decided to make a pretty bass heavy model. I can even call them bass head, but they've implemented in proper way, and at the end they almost got sound similar to the Campfire Audio Atlas, because they are bass heavy, but at the same time they have good resolving mid-range and nice sparkling treble. So it's a V-shaped model, but mids don't sound rolled off because of nice resolution. It's nice clear mids and accents on lows and trebles. But let's have, okay, I hit my studio light. Let's have player on the table and let's proceed with sound description. I gave them about 40 hours of burn-in, but after 30 hours sound settled. Also, you need to find the proper tips. I used Symbio ear tips by Mandarins, but stock ones are also okay if you don't want buying third-party tips. So bass here is accented, it has perfect body, good hit, nice weight, it has resonance, it has tightness. So it's nice accented low frequencies, but without bleeding onto mids and without being too slow. It's just heavy bass but with good resolution. It's not as fast as balanced armatures, but it's one of the fastest dynamic drivers I've heard. And of course it goes deep, it offers perfect bass layering, it offers perfect texturing, so balanced, dynamic, lively, engaging. Really good model. I am thinking about becoming bass head with this model. And as an example, I wanted to use some Juno reactor or Die Antwoord, but then I think that I using that tracks too much. Another good example could be something like Musica Nuda, but I also use them too often. So I dig my media library, and Django soundtrack offers nice track 100 black coffins with punchy, heavy hitting bass line, and these earphones play this perfectly, and combined with pretty clear mids, they also showing nice mid-range and vocal. Speaking about mid-range, I like the transitions. Typically in 400 price range you can get hybrids or multi-balanced armature models, and they often have some issues on the lower mids, on the upper mids, where drivers frequency bands overlap and their Could be some distortion rolled off, but not in this case. It's just single dynamic driver, and so they sound as coherent as possible. So no driver overlap, because only one driver is present here. Mids have good resolution, not superb, but really good. It's good dynamic driver. You know, if you heard dynamic drivers, if you heard balanced armatures, you can easily imagine difference, and you can easily imagine what dynamic driver sound means. It doesn't make accent on the microdynamics. At the same time, it's really good in representing emotions and representing macrodynamics. So it's just emotional representation with good resolution, but not going into thin analytical sound or into nitpicking. They are pretty forgiving for the records quality, because even modern records with a lot of compression sounds nice with them. Probably because of improved upper mids, because Beryllium really showed all the dirt and issues with tracks. They highlighted more. Carbone are more forgiving. And then as example for the mid frequencies, I've got Hans Zimmer live in Prague, perfect live concert, and I can select every single track, but of course Pirates of the Caribbean would be the best choice, because everyone likes this tune. It's orchestra piece, but with a lot of additional instruments from the rock group, with drums, with bass guitar, and many other things. So it's and it's well recorded with live audience. So it's pretty hard track to represent it properly, but Carbone really managed to do that in a nice way, and they really shine with this track, because they also have a good imaginary stage. It's not big in terms of size, it's just a bit above average both in width and in depth, but at the same time it's really good in layering and instruments positioning. Really nice three-dimensional stage. And treble has slight accent, and on the frequency response chart it looks pretty awful, but at the same time to my ears they sound well balanced. No, there is no harsh sibilant treble, there is no some metal resonance, just good level of resolution, good natural treble representation, perfectly balancing low frequencies. Treble layering is basic but acceptable. Attacks and decays are really realistic, as well as resolution. So treble is also fairly good. And as an example for the treble, I've got this track. It's Anathema, the Optimist. Perfect transformation of the band, but it was so long ago. When I first listened to Anathema, it was, I don't remember, it was beginning of the 2000s, and I've heard Serenades, and I didn't like doom metal. It was groovy, hard, heavy and slow, but then they've changed their style, and now it's one of my most favorite. Probably it's not metal anymore, it's more of progressive rock, and perfectly recorded track with a lot of fortepiano, with nice vocal line, with a lot of percussion instruments. So you can imagine that it requires a lot of treble, and this earphones play this part also really nicely. So in terms of pairing, they require natural source with they don't require a lot of driving power, but they require natural source with good control all over the frequencies, and it will be enough. Even a bit of background noise won't be an issue with them, but of course too noisy source cannot be a plus. Speaking about compressions, I will probably mention only one model, and it will be periodic audio Beryllium. In general signature, Beryllium is closer to neutrality. Of course, it's not a neutral model, and not even close, but they are more neutral than Carbone, and they have a bit more forward mids. but Carbone are funnier in terms of signature, more bass, a bit more natural treble, so it's just more funny representation. But of course beryllium are also nice, so it's just a matter of preferences which model would you prefer, especially taking into account that beryllium are $100 cheaper. I think it's also a pretty important factor. As for any other models, all comparisons that I can think of will sound like they have less bass and probably sometimes more armature mids, sometimes less coherent because of crossover and so on. So I probably won't think of some other models. If you're interested in comparison with some other model, just feel free to write a comment. I will try to do a comparison, but as I've said before, it will start from bass difference. So to summarize everything, Carbone is perfect periodic audio model. It's done in minimalistic style. It's sounding really interesting and it has really high level. Maybe it's not universal, not everyone's cup of tea, but it's really fun model for those who like bass heavy signature done right, at least to my taste. Thank you for attention.